First thing you're going to do is turn the key on. The truck is one of these, it's a computer operated truck, so you have to wait for it to warm up. Nothing works unless the key's on. Okay, with the key on, I'm going to turn the lights on the front of the truck, Mr. Berg. There's 7 of them up there. I've got a low beam. He'll be outside the truck probably. You'll be screaming at him to get your check marks. I've got low beam, and he'll check. High beam. I'm going to have left, let's see, low beam, high beam. I've got left signal, right signal, and then the 4-ways. Right. Then I've got marker lights on the corner of the truck. They're orange. And I've got some clearance lights on the cab because it's a big truck. That's 7. On the back of the truck, I've got tail lights and brake lights. I've got left signal, right signal, and 4-ways. It's the same as the front. Right. The only thing, let's see, I got marker lights, but they're red back there on the corners. There's no clearance lights because there's nothing up high. So instead of clearance lights, we've got some reverse lights. And I'm going to push reverse, but yeah, it ain't going in. We have to start the truck. We'll check reverse when I start the truck here in a second, Mr. Bird. Get those reverse lights. All right, on the trailer there's only 6. There's tail lights and brake lights. There's left signal, right signal, and 4-ways. And there's marker lights on all 4 corners, but there's no clearance lights because there's nothing up high, and there's no reverse lights on the trailer. Right, that's it. So he's got all the lights. Now he'll be coming for the cab, and while he does, I'm going to go ahead and start the truck and check the reverse lights as he walks by. Alright, reverse lights work. Okay, now I would leave the truck running, but we can't hear with the video. So you got to leave the truck running because now I'm done with the lights. He'll be in here with you. And the next thing I'm going to do is just continue from the light switch, which is way over here on my left hand on the bottom corner. I'm going to continue across the dash. And then I'm going to come up the column and I'm done. Right. So with the truck running, I'm going to check the gauges. You can't check the gauges unless the truck are running because you're checking transmission temperature, oil pressure, water temperature, my tachometer, my speedometer. This is my voltmeter. The fuel is under half a tank, and these are my air pressure gauges, and they just work together. They're redundant in case one of them fails. You got another, right? There's my air pressure gauges. This is my defroster. This is mandatory equipment. That's a demo. You've got to check the defroster on the truck so you don't drive down the road with a rag, right? Your spare fuses are in the glove compartment area. I wouldn't open that because it just falls on the floor. And this is the emergency brake we're going to be using today. This is if you had an air brake trailer. We don't have an air brake trailer. It's electric brakes. We'll be using this for the emergency brakes today. Coming up the steering column, first thing I find is this little lever. And hey, that's the windshield wipers. All right, don't leave them on if it ain't raining because my windshield wipers melt. Alright, so I need to check the windshield wipers to make sure they're not excessively melted. Alright, I want to make sure they're in great shape. I want to make sure they're going across a windshield that's clean of stickers and cracks and rock chips so I can see out of it. I want to make sure, speaking of see, that the mirrors are properly adjusted so that I can see the sides of the truck and the trailer out of the mirrors and they look good. Alright, while I'm here, let's make sure that the windshield washer fluid works, and that's about it on that. I'm moving up a little higher now. This is the steering wheel. I need to check for play in the steering wheel. I want to make sure there's no sticking or binding, no unusual noises. There's freedom of motion. This truck has power steering, so that's why I have the engine running, Mr. Berg. Is I'm gonna check the power steering. I have to have less than 2 inches of play. You just look out the window here at the wheel. And as you turn the wheel, you'll see as you turn the steering wheel, you'll see the truck wheel respond within 2 inches. On an 18-inch steering wheel, you have 2 inches. On a bigger steering wheel, it's 10 degrees of motion. So it works out to 2 inches on 18. It would be a little more, right? So you go like this, and make sure you move the wheel less than 2 inches and tell him, oh yeah, Mr. Berg, there it is, it's responding. All right. There's a horn, and the horn works on the truck. Now, last things is right here at the bottom of the steering wheel. I can see the brake pedal and the accelerator pedal. So I'm going to check the brake pedal. It has freedom of motion, no sticking or binding, no unusual noises. And the accelerator pedal. It has freedom of motion, no sticking or binding, no unusual noises, and there's no debris in the floor that could roll around and get up under the pedals. That's it. Now there's 5 air brake checks. I'm going to need to start the truck for the air brake checks, so it's going to have to happen. Alright, so you've done that whole thing with the truck running. Right, because you can't check power steering while the truck's running. So this is going to be at maximum air pressure because the truck's going to have been running for a good 10 minutes there. I'm just going to get to max where it would have been. See, the gauges are almost at max. You're going to hear when it gets to 125, you're going to hear the air compressors right now is pumping 120 pounds. When it gets to 125, you'll hear it divert and start pumping in the air. Listen. There it is. It's just like you're pumping up a bicycle tire or something. You pull the air compressor nozzle off, it makes that sound. That's what you just heard. The air compressor never quits. It just stops putting air in the tank. You with me? Alright. My first check is going to be to verify that the air compressor works. It's called the compressor leaks check. It's an automatic fails check. Alright? You got to get it right. Now the first part of it is called the compressor test. Right now I cannot confirm that the compressor is working because it's not. How the hell am I going to know? I'm at 125 pounds. It's not going to get me more, you know? So the first thing I got to do is fan down somewhere so I can watch it build. You know that you can't really see the compressor, but I can see the effects of it. So I'm going to fan down to 90. It takes about 5 pumps. This will always be behind you because it's electronic. It's just slow. It's not analog. Right? We're at 90 pounds. I'm going to wait a second, Mr. Berg, and confirm the first part of the test that the compressor works. Alright, the gauges are building, Mr. Bird, so I know the compressor works. Alright, now with the compressor running, I'm going to put air in the emergency system. The truck's not going to roll away because we're on level ground and I got the wheels tracked, but I just released the parking brake. See it went off on the dash. See it right there? I'm going to release the parking brake. The next thing I'm going to do is apply all the airbags to the service brakes. Alright? Now I've got air in the parking brake and air in the service brake. If I had an air trailer, I'd put air in that too, but I don't. Okay? And I'm going to sit here for 1 minute. There's nothing left air on the truck that isn't working. I'm going to sit here for 1 minute. The gauge should remain steady or build, meaning there's no leak and the compressor can continue to build pressure. If we lose anything on the gauge, we fail. And the truck can't be driven. Okay? You can see that the gauge is already building, Mr. Berg, so I've already passed this test. Remain steady, your build is passed. Do you want me to sit here for a minute? He'll go yes, and he'll have his little calculator watch, and you'll sit here for 1 minute. Alright? Alright, that's the first test. The next test is the low air warning buzzer, and it really doesn't matter if the brake is set. I've heard that question, or it doesn't matter if the truck's on or off. The low air warning buzzer is just going to come on. It should come on by 60 pounds. It must come on by 55. It has to be a buzzer or that wig-wag thing from 1970, alright? So I'm going to go there. The pedal just got soft, so I'm running out of air. And the buzzer came on around 70. So that's a pass. It should come on by 60. It came on at 70. We passed that test. And this truck has a light and a buzzer. A couple of years ago, the buzzer stopped buzzing. And we could still use it because we had a light. Alright, that's the low air warning buzzer. Alright, if you rev the engine up to about 1500, you can get air going a little faster. Anything over that is just excessive. You'll blow the engine up. Alright, I got a little bit of air pressure. My last 3 tests are going to be sure the parking brake works so when I get to where I'm going I can stop. Right? I want to make sure the service brake works so that when the light turns red I can stop. Right? And I want to make sure the trailer brake works. In case it breaks away, I want it to stop. Right? Okay, so I need to get out and get the wheel chocks out of the way so we can test these things. A state trooper would have you cut the truck off because you can't be in here with the truck on and no seatbelt. Mr. Bird, you can ask for permission. It is a crane, for God's sakes. It's kind of made for you to leave the cab, you know. I got the brake set, Mr. Bird. It's in neutral. I'd like to go ahead and hop out and get my wheel chocks and go say okay. Okay, Alex got the wheel chocks out of the way. I'm back in, Mr. Bird. I got my seatbelt on. First thing I want to do is test the parking brake. So I'm going to put the truck in gear and I'm going to leave the parking brake on. See it? And I'm going to pull against it. Alright, something's over here. It's the parking brake, Mr. Bird. That works. My next check is going to be the service brakes. So now I'm going to allow the truck to move. Is there anything in the way? Alright, so I'm going to allow the truck to move. I'm going to allow the truck to move. And I'm going to stop it with the service brakes this time. Alright, service brakes work on the vehicle. Neutral. Parking brake. The last test is that emergency breakaway on the trailer. I'm going to need to get out one more time, Mr. Burke, and pull that rip cord. I don't want to do it because we'll wear it out if we pull it all the time. But I get out, I pull that emergency breakaway cord that I checked for anybody. The breakaway module, yes, no. I'm going to pull it. Alright, I get back in. Alright, Mr. Burke, I've pulled it. I'm going to see if the trailer brakes work.